Hey gang, welcome Domino Veterinary Hospital Facebook Live. It's Friday and I'm Charles Bradley. Welcome to our Facebook Live event today. We're going to talk about some holiday issues for pets, and I think most of it surrounds food, but we're going to talk a little bit about things that can go wrong in the GI tract as in foreign bodies. So why don't we talk a little bit about that first. I've got some props here. I'll just bring up in a camera view. Yeah, tinsel. Not good. How about some ribbon? We don't like ribbon. If this gets into a pet, it could be a problem, and I'll explain in a minute. Something as innocent as a little bauble like this, or for cats, those little mice that have a little plastic base to them. Anything that's bigger than a man's finger or a pinky even in a cat or a dog can get obstructed. So foreign bodies are really a problem. They come down the esophagus, down into the stomach, but if they can't get past the stomach through the small intestine, which is a narrow pipe, they can get caught. And then the only thing that you can really do is to do surgery. So we don't want to do surgery. Okay, so that's foreign bodies. How about this guy here? This is the poinsettia. Not a very good thing for animals to chew on. It's a gastric irritant, and it can cause pets to vomit and have diarrhea. Here's one that you probably don't think about. We have a delicious tray of cookies here. Now, I don't know if these cookies were made with sugar or with xylitol. Xylitol, xylitol. So if they're made with xylitol, that is very, very, very bad, especially for dogs. So the xylitol causes a dog's blood sugar to plummet, and they'll get hypoglycemia, and it can affect their liver, and animals can be affected by a very small amount of xylitol. The other place to look for xylitol would be in chewing gum. So dogs that eat chewing gum or find chewing gum on their walks, that could be a problem. So these artificial sweeteners, all you have to remember is artificial sweeteners and dogs do not mix well. The chemical is actually called xylitol. It's in baked goods and it's in chewing gum. So make sure you don't give those kinds of products to doggies. I guess the big one at this time of year is chocolate, right? I remember the time when Frank, our dog, had these Ferrero Rocher chocolates, and we found out really fast. So what we actually did was we induced vomiting. And the entire back of Domino Veterinary Hospital smelled like Ferrero Rocher. So it was kind of cool that way, but it was a big save because he had a belly full of chocolate, and chocolate can be quite dangerous to dogs, and it actually varies by the kind of chocolate. So white chocolate is not that dangerous. The darker it is, the worse it is. And what chocolate does is it speeds up the metabolism. So it contains theobromines and caffeines, and it speeds up the heart, speeds up the metabolism. It can actually cause a dog to seize, or have a seizure, that is. So what we did with Frank is we induced some vomiting. We had a little product called apomorphine, and we put a sliver of that tablet just under the conjunctiva of his eye, and it got taken up into his bloodstream, and he had the urge to vomit, and he vomited a huge amount. So then after we were done with the vomiting, we fed him some food with activated charcoal, and the activated charcoal helped bind the chocolate so that it wouldn't get up into the system. Now, I have seen some very serious cases. Say a small-sized dog eats a whole brick of baker's chocolate, which is dark chocolate. That is very dangerous. Those dogs have to be hospitalized. Sometimes they have to have their stomach emptied, and they have to be on IV. So that can be a really expensive mistake. So please, no chocolate for dogs. How about nuts? We just have this little prop of nuts. Now, I enjoyed some macadamia nuts as part of my nut mix. I like nuts like most of us. And macadamia nuts actually can be dangerous for dogs. I've never seen this, but I've heard about it. It can cause dogs to be depressed. They can have about a 12 to 24-hour illness from eating macadamia. The nature of how it works is not understood, but they can get depression, they can be wobbly on their legs, they can be unable to rise, and they can have very high fevers and actually vomit as well. So macadamia nuts, another example. Something you wouldn't think about too is batteries. So at this time of the year, we have all kinds of little gadgets and little flashlights that we're illustrating here as the container of a battery. Believe it or not, dogs like to eat batteries. If they don't pierce the cladding, it's not so bad. But if the contents of the battery get in contact with anywhere in that pipeline going down, the esophagus, the stomach, the intestines, it burns. So it can cause very serious burning and damaging, especially as it goes down the esophagus. That's a very tender place. So batteries, be conscious that a dog might want to eat a battery. And the lithium batteries, not this standard battery, this is bad enough, but the lithium battery is very, very dangerous. And that can be a real big issue for dogs. Just want to remind you about another thing that we're doing here at Domino. We have a pet holiday picture contest. And I know TJ has sent in his dog picture. We've got a cat picture as well. We encourage you, right now there's very few contestants, so the likelihood of getting the prize is really big. And I really welcome you to do that. And you know, around the holidays you have to think about the pets with their stress. We talked about that last week. We'll just touch on that again. When children are in the home and when there's a lot of comings and goings, dogs can become more anxious. So give them a little bit of room, give them a little time. If you have cats, you may have to put the cats kind of in a little nest of their own in a room, you know, outside of the main current. Be very sensitive of their needs because they do have fear, and we also don't want cats to be left alone. It's not good to leave a cat, you know, with 3 bowls of food for each day. I think that cats should be boarded. Just remind you, we do cat boarding here. Dog boarding is obviously a big decision. If you're boarding your dog, you're saying to yourself, all right, he's going to be living outside his world. You have to have a very high level of trust with the people that are going to be caring for your dog. And you have to make sure that the vaccines are up to date, especially Bordetella, that is kennel cough. So these are things that we talk about every day, and I just wanted to remind you about some of the Christmas issues. I'll just check before we check off and see if there's any questions that have come in. Kelsey, any questions today?
We're good.
We're good on the questions. So I look forward to seeing you next time on Facebook Live from Domino Veterinary Hospital. My name is Dr. Charles Bradley. Thank you.